It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. Ever since President Biden endorsed VP Harris to be the Democratic presidential nominee, tons of you have reached out to hear what Dr. Amanda Weinstein, co-host of the Suburban Women Problem Podcast and a regular on Against All Enemies, has to say about all of this. As usual, her insights are spot on. Before we get into it, here is the official launch video for the Harris for President campaign. Let's go.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different. We choose freedom.
Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too.
The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. We choose a future where no child lives in poverty, where we can all afford health care, where no one is above the law. We believe in the promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win. So join us. Go to KamalaHarris.com and let's get to work.
I'ma keep on running 'cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
Dr. Amanda Weinstein, I don't think I've seen anything like this, certainly in my political lifetime, where there's been an about-face, emotionally, seemingly spiritually. I think the polls are going to reflect that soon. There is an energy in the Democratic Party that I think competes with or even surpasses what we felt in the first Obama era. How are you feeling about it?
Oh, I feel exactly the same. I feel like going from worry and hearing just the doubt and hearing that people weren't energized or weren't going to show up at the polls to all of the sudden just this palpable excitement you hear from everyone. It's amazing.
I probably should have led with this. An acknowledgement to President Biden for doing one of the most selfless political acts I've ever seen. Truly an example of country over party, country over self, regardless of how you feel about whether it was the right decision politically. He did it for his country. And there are very few examples like this we can point to.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, not to be hyperbolic, but I think of George Washington stepping down and everyone was shocked at that. Like, how could you step down? And I think the contrast cannot be more stark between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. You want to see what America First looks like? We just showed you in our actions. This is what America First looks like. This is what a party looks like, who is a party, not a cult. This is a party who has a conversation. What is best for America? How should we proceed? And we take action.
And no one was more shocked than Donald Trump, because he could not fathom stepping away from a position of power and authority. I imagine the confusion in the heads of Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, asking themselves, what kind of person gives up power willingly? Well, a patriot. And I think that's the contrast you're talking about. Donald Trump is not a patriot because you could not imagine in your wildest fantasies that he would put the country first in this way.
Oh, I mean, just seeing the initial reaction of the Republicans, they don't have a plan B. There was nowhere in their plans of what do we do if Kamala steps up. They are completely taken aback. They had no idea that this would actually happen. And you saw it with even Stephen Miller on Fox News, just completely melting down on the news, just getting screechy and overwhelmed because he does not know how to handle this. We're not planning for this, and it's going to be fun.
I want to play that clip of Stephen Miller because I think, he's a presence on social media, but you have to hear the guy's voice every once in a while to remind yourself just how unhinged these folks are. Play the clip.
They held a primary. People, they had ballots. They filled out circles. They went to the voting booths. They spent money on advertisements. And as President Trump said, the Republican Party spent tens of millions of dollars running against Joe Biden. Now they just woke up one morning and said, never mind, we're canceling the entire primary. We're getting rid of our candidate, and we're pretending the election has never even happened.
You're right, Amanda.
I've never heard Kamala hit that high.
They don't have a plan for Kamala Harris for a couple of reasons. First of all, their entire strategy was built around taking down Biden, so-called, crooked Biden, incompetent Biden. I mean, the whole Hunter hearing thing, the impeachment strategy, it's all focused on Joe Biden. But I suspect the other reason they don't have a strategy for the vice president is because they are terrified of what she represents. And they would have rather just not thought about it.
Absolutely terrified.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, there is so much that changed on a dime. We have now gone to, I think it was George Conway, who within minutes said, it looks like it is the prosecutor against the perpetrator. Like, that is what we are talking about now. And Kamala Harris's team came out with a video. I think the Lincoln Project's already got a video of showing this stark contrast between the prosecutor and the perpetrator, and between the person who has brought to justice rapists against the rapist. Like, there is no limit of so much material that people are already throwing out there. I think it was Sarah Longwell, who does focus groups, who immediately said, you know what? They've got the oldest person on the ticket right now in history. What they have spent, how long, hammering home how old Biden was. And now they've got the old guy. Like, it is not going well for them right now.
Yeah. I want to play this clip from Nikki Haley, no less, saying that if Donald Trump heads the ticket, this is when she was running, she guarantees that Kamala Harris will be the next president. Roll the clip.
Let's speak some hard truths. If Donald Trump becomes the Republican nominee, we will get a President Kamala Harris. You mark my words. He cannot win a general election. Look at Iowa, look at New Hampshire. He can't get independents. He can't get suburban women. He's losing Republicans who say they don't want him and will vote for someone else. It's a problem.
There's also this clip, we're not going to show it, but it, I guess, speaks again to Nikki Haley's hypocrisy. She says whichever party retires their 80-something candidate first will be the party to win. Well, that's the Democratic Party. And yet the Republicans are doing whatever they can to attack her. It doesn't seem to be sticking. I mean, here you have Kellyanne, the other half of the Conway couple, formerly.
I cannot imagine that household.
Me neither. I don't want to get into that because Kellyanne is reverting to the tried and true racist tropes here, talking about the first Black woman to head a presidential ticket being lazy and inarticulate. Here it is.
She does not speak well. She does not work hard.
All right, so Kellyanne, let me ask you.
And she should not be the standard bearer for the party. Yes, sir.
So, Amanda, I think there's going to be a lot of that between now and November. We have to steel ourselves for it, and we have to be ready to push back, because on the merits, they don't have that much against Kamala, and they're going to have to blow these dog whistles whenever they can. They don't have to, but they're going to. We just know it's coming.
I mean, they don't have a plan. This is what they have to resort to when they don't have a clear plan. And there is just almost nothing that they can attack her on. She is a prosecutor. She has dealt with criminals. She has tried, she is part of the administration that tried to get a bipartisan immigration deal that was blocked because Donald Trump told them to block it. They really have nothing of substance to go on other than these tropes of racism and misogyny. And I just think there are so many people out there that are tired of it, that we're calling it out. We're sick of the gaslighting. And I think, if anything, having this short time period, and I think Rachel Vindman recently on our podcast said, you know what? We don't have time to say, I'm going to address that in a few weeks, or I'm going to address that next year at Thanksgiving, right? When we hear this from our relatives, from our neighbors, from our friends, the time to address it is right now. We don't have time to wait to address this type of stuff. And I think that is the exact mentality we need.
Probably her greatest strength, and it was at the center of her portfolio as VP, continues to be, is reproductive rights. No one speaks as compellingly, as forcefully, as credibly on the issue of defending a woman's right to choose bodily autonomy than Kamala Harris. What are you hearing from your audience, from your listeners, about the salience of that issue in her hands going forward?
Oh, this is a winning issue for the Democratic Party. This has become very clear since Kansas, Red Kansas, said, you know what, we kind of like our freedoms and we'll keep them. Thank you very much. This is a winning issue. And of anyone in the Democratic Party to deliver the message on this winning issue, it is Kamala Harris. She just nails it when she talks about this issue. She knows what to say. She is a woman and speaking to many women out there and many men who know what the consequences are of losing reproductive freedoms in America. This is a winning issue. This is the issue of this election. And we now have the candidate better than any other candidate to talk about that issue.
Not only do we have the candidate better than any other candidate, it feels like the Republicans set their own trap and fell into it with the nomination of J.D. Vance as Trump's running mate. I don't think you could get more extreme on this issue and many other issues, but just address this one in particular. He has called for a national abortion ban. He believes, at least personally, in zero exceptions for rape and incest. Whether that becomes the campaign's policy, we'll see. But J.D. Vance as a person is extreme as they come on this.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're talking about a 10 and 11-year-old rape victim and not having exceptions in that case, that is barbaric. There really is very little else you can describe it as other than it is completely barbaric. It is not about freedom. It is about trying to sacrifice a young girl on the altar of their pretend religiosity. And I think we're a little tired of the fake. It's all fake. We know their extreme attitudes are completely fake, especially Donald Trump's, but J.D. Vance isn't helping either. He thinks that somehow childcare isn't for normal families. I'm sorry. There's a lot of families out there that rely on childcare. So to say that something like the government addressing the childcare crisis we have in this country is not normal is completely out of touch with the American people and the struggles that they have every day to just afford life. Childcare, rent, groceries, completely out of touch.
How do you think the Christian nationalist influence over JD's worldview will come into play in this presidential contest? Because he was obviously chosen not as an appeal to moderates or as a way to moderate the extremism of Trump and his campaign. It was a decision made out of cockiness, arrogance even, that they just thought they were going to run away with it. And it was also a gesture to the extremist Christian nationalists, the Project 2025 architects that were given this trophy going into the next administration. How does a candidate Harris take that on?
Oh, I mean, I think you have Donald Trump, who is a reality TV star, and he chose J.D. Vance, who is really just an author turned political pundit, right? There is no experience with true leadership. There is no experience in governing between the two of them. And that's what Donald Trump likes. He wants someone that can get the attention and he's been pretty good at that for a while. And now what we have in Kamala Harris is someone who can govern, who has governed in many different situations. We like people who can govern in the Democratic Party. I know that's weird. We want someone who's like capable and experienced. They want someone who can get attention. And the problem with that is not only can she govern, man, is she good at getting attention. If we go back and look at her committee questioning, if we look at the I'm speaking, if we look at her debates, she knows how to have the conversation and to get attention. And even right now, like, we are off the heels of the RNC, right? We are off the heels of them naming a new VP, an assassination attempt, the RNC convention, and none of that is what we are talking about right now. We are all talking about Kamala Harris, and we can't stop talking about Kamala Harris. We are talking about what an amazing patriot Biden is and what an amazing candidate we have in Kamala Harris. And this is when really we should be talking about the RNC and what crazy thing Trump and JD are talking about. But even today, they cut JD off on Fox News because he was too boring to keep on air. This is going to be an issue for a party who runs on attention and just can't seem to get it right now.
Can you address this lie that Vice President Harris is not ready? I mean, it was thrown at her from the start, and I am sure there are cultural reasons for that. I'll let you read into that whatever you want. But she has done more than most vice presidents have at this point in her career, and has been the most loyal, effective wingman to President Biden that he could have hoped for, had the toughest tasks in her portfolio, like immigration. Can you talk about how ready she is for this job?
Oh man, when I hear that, I just think it's laughable. Because let's just ignore the fact that she has been the VP and all the accomplishments she has on her belt just from being the VP and heading up one of the most important issues right now, which is common sense gun laws. She headed up that for the White House, right? Let's just forget all of that. Before that, being senator, being a prosecutor, she has a career of accomplishments under her belt. And I just don't think a lot of that it's just not going to have any weight to it. People aren't going to buy it. She just has too much on her record, right? You just take this resume she has of all of the things that she has done throughout a career. No one's going to buy it. At least not anybody who is on the fence.
So where's it coming from? I think we both know the answer. When somebody looks at a black woman about to head a presidential ticket and says she's not ready, what are they really saying?
I mean, they're really saying that no black woman is ready. No black person is ready. No woman is ready, especially no black woman. No, we're going to hear stuff about her parents' background. We're going to hear so much. And somehow all of the things, what she looks like, her gender, makes her not ready. It just is not true. And I think we're at a place where we have, since the last election, 4 more years of people who turned 18. And man, are they not going to hear any of that. I'm sorry, but they have friends. Even guys have friends who are ladies and have friends who are a different ethnicity. Man, are these young people going to be energized, and are they not going to play into any of that?
They already are energized. I've been blown away by what seem like self-assembling memes out there about Kamala with the dancing, the coconut tree comment, which was initially circulated as like a critique, and now she's owning it and people love it. I wish we could play some of that here, but we'll get flagged for the music copyright. But just check it out. It's everywhere. And in the business, this is what they call earned media, free advertising. I mean, she's going to get $500 million worth of publicity without having to spend a cent because young people are into it.
Oh, yeah. You get young people who will take their time and energy, and they will make videos, and they will make art, and they will just get her message out there to people who might not have been listening before. Now they have a reason to listen.
Hi, everyone. It's Ken Harbaugh, and I need to take a short break here to ask all of you watching and listening for a quick favor. I am starting my own YouTube channel at team_Harbaugh, where I'll be posting videos regularly, including bonus content. It's a great place to find both Burn the Boats and Against All Enemies episodes, including the full archive. That's going to take a while to upload, but it's all going to live there. I could really use your help growing the channel. Please consider subscribing today. The link is in the show notes, or just search for team_Harbaugh on YouTube. I really appreciate the support. Everything we do here depends on you. Thanks so much. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management. Here's how it works. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. Metabolic health is one of the keys to overall well-being. Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going. Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, etc. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve your metabolic health. So, if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/boats to get 15% off your Lumen. That's lumen.me/boats for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. Let's be honest, the aging process is not our friend when it comes to energy and productivity. That's where Qualia Senolytic comes in. Senolytics are a class of ingredients discovered less than 10 years ago, and they have enormous potential for promoting healthy aging. As we age, everyone accumulates senescent cells in their body. These cells cause symptoms of aging like aches and discomfort, slow workout recoveries, sluggish mental and physical energy associated with that middle-aged feeling. Also known as zombie cells, these cells are old and worn out and not serving a useful function for our health anymore, but they are taking up space and nutrients from our healthy cells. Take Qualia Senolytic just 2 days a month. The formula is non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, and the ingredients are meant to complement one another, factoring in the combined effect of all ingredients together. It has a 100-day money-back guarantee. New research on aging and longevity, including a clinical study on Qualia Senolytic, shows that senolytic supplementation can play a huge role in enhancing how we age. So give Qualia Senolytic a try. Go to qualialife.com/boats for up to 50% off and use code BOATS at checkout for an additional 15% off. For your convenience, Qualia Senolytic is also available at select GNC locations near you. That's QUALIA life.com/boats for an extra 15% off your purchase. Thanks to Qualia for sponsoring today's episode. I've always thought that politicians actually deploy corniness as a strength. People like that for some reason. When they're a little bit hokey in their affect. And Kamala just has that, you know, she's got the infectious laughter. She's got the coconut stories, and I find it endearing in a way that doesn't diminish her seriousness at all.
Oh no, I think the only thing I've seen from the Republicans about a video against Kamala was how much she laughs. I mean, I laughed watching it like, oh man, how awful. Someone who enjoys life and someone that we want to watch and laugh with. Terrible. How terrible, this person who is a human. We are in a 24-hour news cycle with all of the social media and TikTok and Twitter and Threads and everything. We need someone who's real because there isn't time to fake it. And I think she is great at being real, showing who she is and not being ashamed of it.
I hope she doesn't change, because you know there are going to be advisors and consultants who are trying to craft the perfect candidate. But my memory of VP Harris when she was on the campaign trail and when I had very limited interactions with her was that authenticity. When she laughed, you could tell it was a real laugh. That was really her. And I hope that never goes away. But it's going to be hard because every single misstatement, every single awkward moment is going to be weaponized to its fullest potential by the Republicans between now and November. And it's always tempting to try to be careful knowing that that's coming, but I think that would be a mistake for her.
I think it'd be a mistake. And I think, I mean, we've seen the news cycle. We went from Trump, someone trying to assassinate him, and that's not the biggest news story. So I can't imagine anything that she'd say that would be a gaffe that we would stay on for more than 24 hours, which means she can kind of just run with it and be her, because whatever she says that maybe might not be the perfectly well-crafted talking point, it's going to blow over. But the truth is she has stories, and that's what people connect to. We have been told for decades you need the perfect talking point, and if you're not winning, it's because you don't have the perfect talking point. I think that's true with the Republican Party. I think they need a perfect talking point. I think they need someone to tell them word for word what to say and think. That's not who the Democrats are, and that's not who the majority of Americans are. We want the stories of Americans. We want the story of hope. We want the story of what our country can be. We want the story of opportunity. We want the story of struggle and how we can address that struggle and make it so that we can all succeed in this country. Those are the stories she's going to bring to the table, and I don't think it's going to be about the perfect talking point.
I don't ever want to make light of the assassination attempt on the former president, but it must be driving him crazy. That, as you pointed out, the whole world isn't still talking about it. I mean, the first 20 minutes of his RNC speech were like this self-hagiography, anointing, creating his own saintly myth, right? It was really kind of weird, unless you're already part of the Trump cult. I think he assumed that story would carry through the election, and it just has to be driving him crazy that people are now talking about something else, and that something else is a formidable, impressive Black female opponent.
I'm sure they're not having a good day at Mar-a-Lago. I'm sure he is cranky and making everyone around him miserable because he doesn't know how to handle it. And the most he has is the birtherism that brought him to us from Obama. He's going to use the same birtherism, racism. And I just think we're over that. I think it's not going to hang in the air long. We're going to be on to the next thing. He has said so many ridiculous things that I don't even think his own party puts all that much weight in anything he says. Half the time he gets names wrong. He can't, he confuses Kamala Harris with, I think, Nikki Haley and Pelosi. And they just stopped putting weight, even their party putting weight in what he says. He will not be able to handle her. I would love to see whether he actually debates her or not. I would love to see that debate. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it.
What's your serious political assessment of the likelihood of that? I think it's close to zero, given the damage he would suffer in a head-to-head with her.
Oh, it would be disastrous. However, I never want to underestimate his ego, right? Backing down. So that I have a little glimmer of hope that his ego is so massive that he knows we will all tell the world he is too scared to go head to head with Kamala Harris, and he is backing down from a Black woman, right? That little glimmer tells me his ego might be like, nope, I can do this. And we might get it, but if he listens at all to anyone on his campaign with any sense, they will tell him, don't you dare debate her because you will lose.
Yeah, you'll lose badly. Mm-hmm. We just talked to her most recent speechwriter who said that that's her arena. She's at her best when she's given that prosecutorial stage. And if there is a debate, it's not going to be an exchange of ideas. It's going to be an interrogation. It is going to be, as you said at the top of the show, it is going to be the prosecutor versus the felon, the serial harasser, the rapist, the compulsive liar. And it's going to be a prosecution. I don't think that is going to happen if his campaign has any say in it at all.
Oh, but I want it to happen so bad.
Yeah, we all do. Any thoughts on her potential VP pick?
Ooh, I mean, this is what we're talking right now too, which I know JD Vance is like, come on, I'm the new thing. It's me. And we're like, oh, what's going to be our VP? I think there are, I mean, this is something that even Biden said when I think he was asked by reporters, like, who could beat Donald Trump? He's like, there's 50 people out there that could beat Donald Trump. We have an amazing bench right now in the Democratic Party. Something I'm sure the Republicans are jealous of because I don't know that their bench is all that great. Ours is amazing. I think some of the ones to look for are Shapiro in Pennsylvania. We have some amazing Democratic governors, wildly popular. Pennsylvania, Shapiro, Beshear in Kentucky, North Carolina's governor. I think Mark Kelly in Arizona. I think not a governor, but senator. I think we have some options out there that she's going to go for, people who have immediately threw their hat in the ring for Kamala, saying, I'm with her, I'm supporting her, let's do this.
I've already seen Kamala 2024 t-shirts on young people. They have figured this out.
Oh, and we heard from Republicans, and let me be pretty clear, this was from Republicans, that it was a call from elite, rich, wealthy donors in the Democratic Party who were calling Biden to step down. No, that was a story that the media bought from Republicans. This is something that has broad support in the Democratic Party when you see so many people step up, make donations to Kamala Harris. Wow, is this something the Democratic Party is getting behind?
I just looked it up. Nearly 1 million individual donors in that 24-hour period. And those are all Americans, like by law. Man. These are, and they're almost all likely like voters, right? 1 million people in 24 hours putting their money where their mouth
donated. So excited. Yeah. That is excitement. And oh man, money talks with Trump. And man, that might hurt his feelings more than almost anything else right now.
Yes, it might hurt his feelings. I don't want to get overconfident, though, because speaking of Trump's motivations, he has even more to lose than a Harris, whoever the VP ticket has to win. For Trump, this is literally a fight for his freedom, and that should scare us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that means he will not be backing down. He has all of the intention to stay in the race because it is all about him and what he can gain. It's not about America. It's not even about his party or his followers. It is just about him. He won't be backing down, and it's going to get vicious. He is going to be like a cornered animal lashing out, and it's going to get ugly.
Yeah. I was in that reference to his freedom, referring to the fact that I really think he's running to stay out of jail and to avoid accountability and to pardon the people who have enabled him criminally, whereas VP Harris is running to serve the country.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think he either stays in, wins, and becomes a dictator, or he goes to jail and loses his freedom. And I don't think he sees any options in between, and he might not have any options in between.
What are you talking about coming up on the Suburban Women Problem Podcast?
Oh man, we had Sam Schwartz on, and he has been a Gen Z activist whose cousin unfortunately died in the Parkland shooting. And he has got a great beat on the young people. And man, are those young people energized right now. Yeah. They're coming up with memes I don't understand, which is great. I don't need to understand everything. I don't know what brat is, but it's a good thing and it's cool. And I don't know what it means, but all the young people do.
I've had to ask my kids for a few translations. I want to end with this. I think it's a TikTok. Like I've told you before, I'm not on TikTok. I just get this spillover that makes it onto Twitter. But I found this video just so... it just captures that spirit. What generation are we talking about? They're Gen Zers. Is that what we're up to?
Yeah. So he's a Gen Z. Yeah. Gen Zers. I know.
It's these two young Gen Zers doing the game plan for how to engage. Well, I'll let you watch. It's fantastic. Thanks, Amanda, so much for joining us. Let's do it again soon.
Thanks, Ken.
Need this to happen. Democratic National Convention. Kamala Harris walks out to Von Dutch. Charlie XCX goes on stage and supports her. Charlie XCX then ushers on stage Hillary Clinton. Girl So Confusing featuring Lorde starts playing. They work it out on the remix at the DNC. And then Taylor Swift comes out with 300 coconut flavored cookies that say Mamala 24 on them. If that doesn't happen, you're stupid. Take notes.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.